Another week in review. The West Tigers, even in the off-season, cannot stay out of the headlines. The Bears have their first official signing. Fantastic rant from the Western Sydney Wanderers coach, Alan Stajcic, after the Sydney derby. We've got R360 dead and buried for a couple more years. What does that mean for some of those players? And, of course, we'll preview the second Ashes test, which starts on Thursday. I'm Ian Hawkins, and this is Sport is Life. The purpose of sport, as I see it, is to see your vision become a reality. Find your voice, create strong connections, and learn to trust your body. Steve, how are you?
Good, thanks, Hawk. Good to be with you, mate. Pretty exciting up here in Brisbane. It's Ashes week, Gabba test. Can't wait for it.
Yeah, absolutely. I bet that's all they're talking about up there. But we'll come to the Ashes. We talked about NRL, the 365-day cycle. Yeah. The West Tigers just cannot stay out of the news. Seriously.
Yeah.
What have you seen?
Look, you long-suffering Tigers fans, I just don't understand. So, it's the first time they've made a profit for a long, long time this last season. And then they've just come in and said, I want more control, out with the board. So it's just crazy. I can't figure it out. You finally start to see a little bit of green shoots for the poor old Tigers. A long way away from winning a comp, but you start to see some green shoots, and then this goes and happens. So the biggest problem they've got is Shane Richardson's talking about, his future of the club and whether he wants to stay.
That's not
he
good
would
sign.
be a monster loss for him. Absolute monster loss. But that Barrow Farrell, he'd been in politics for a long time. He'd been a rugby league man. You could start to see some things happening, but it's just comical. Absolute comical.
This is my understanding, and I think might have been Paul Kent talking about this. My understanding is that basically the Holman Group, the West Ashfield mob, have all the cash, but all of the collateral in terms of brand is with the Tigers, because the Magpies brand's pretty much dead, although some of the diehards will want to fight that. So they know they need to keep the Tigers, but the Tigers know that they don't have anything without the cash.
Yeah.
So it's almost like an inconvenient marriage that is going nowhere. They're staying together for the kids.
100%. Exactly right. They won the comp back at the beginning, but she's been a very unhealthy marriage from the get-go. And this is just another comic. I guarantee you the Pens over at Manly are happy to get a little bit of relief, because they're usually the ones putting their foot in it. But the Tigers, finally look like they're starting to get their front house in order, and here it goes. So I hope for their sake something else happens in the next few days for the new cycle. But if not, they're going to cop it for the next month or so.
Absolutely. And, they talk about teams don't win unless the front office is looked after. But we shouldn't feel too sorry for them. Our teams have been battling enough as it is the last few years.
It was always a safe bet the Tigers were going to get the spoon, right? They come ninth for a long time, then they got the spoon. But I don't know. The last few years they've had a couple of good signings, and as I said, I've mentioned Richardson on here a few times in the past. I got huge raps everywhere he goes. He wins. Yeah. So if they lose him, she's uphill into the wind.
Yeah, I do feel for their fans. I've got a few mates who are Tigers fans, and mate, I remember, might have even been about 2010, one of them saying, I'd rather make the finals every year than win one comp in 40, which they'd done with that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and given, we haven't won a comp in a long time, I'm like, nah, I don't believe that. But the more I think about it, I think he's right. Like, they've done nothing. Have they made finals since that 2005 year? I'm not sure.
I don't think so. They had a huge run that year. The Dragons were a good shot that year, and the Tigers rolled them. And since then, they went, what was the running joke? 3 or 4 years in a row, they come ninth. And then it got worse for them, believe it or not. And they keep rocking up, especially Leichhardt. They keep rocking up to watch them. They keep on hoping, and unfortunately, it just never happens. And this front office step back could sting them.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, let's get to more positive news. We talked about the Bears last week. They've finally got their first two official signings. Toby Sexton, who we all know at the end of last year was getting pushed sideways by the Dogs, and everyone said he's too good to not be playing first grade. Well, it sounds like he will be. That's a good one for him as well.
Yeah, definitely. I thought he really played well for the Dogs. Look, he's not going to go out and play Origin football, but solid bloody first grader, especially for a foundation club that needs workmen. They need solid first graders. You're not going to go and sign 4 or 5 marquee players. So if they can get a well-rounded group, Toby Sexton's a perfect example at halfback, mate. So he'll be a real good signing for him.
Yeah, absolutely. You think the Dolphins, that was one of their first signings, was Sean O'Sullivan, to get that dependable halfback in there, and at the same time they bought a young fella there who's now proved to be a quite a handy acquisition.
Handy. Yeah.
So maybe they do the same. The Bears they buy a couple of young halves to invest in the future. Well, they've got Sexton there to sort of build, and the young English fella Harry Newman. I don't know too much about him. Do you?
Yeah, he's an outside back. I think he might have played the third test just recently. So I think there's a bit of a time and a direct flight, I believe, into Perth. So I think that's going to be a huge target for the Bears. Try and get a few pommies over. It's obviously worked pretty well for Canberra. And that time zone and direct flight will help. So I don't think that'll be the last signing from England. I don't know a lot about this bloke. He's an outside back, and I think he's played about 100 odd Super League games. So again, I don't think they're going to sign too many absolute superstars. So if they can get some solid first graders, take some losses while they build the crew over the first 4 or 5 years. Try to do similar to what the Dolphins done, and he seems on the surface to be a similar player.
It's good. Now we don't want to accuse anyone of match fixing, but I don't know. The WBBL, like the highlights I saw on the weekend, is like unbelievable. It was a rain interrupted match. I think it's 3 overs you got to get from each team to make it a real game. Second innings, they go out, it's pissing down, and they play 2.5 overs. The Thunder need 3 more runs, and they need to face 1 more ball to make it a legitimate game.
Yeah.
And they pull the pin. The umpires come together, and even the opposition coach, they're all shrugging their shoulders. The opposition coach, even whose team's about to get beaten, he's like, "What the fuck are we doing?" Seriously, I don't get that. Makes no sense.
I've seen up close and personal a few umpires make some silly decisions over the course, mate. So who knows what they were thinking? But 1 ball, it'd have to be would have had to be in a thunderstorm with lightning all around for it to just get it through, get it over and done with, sort of thing. So disappointing.
The commentators were blowing up too, and they said it's not like the ground staff are there like putting pressure on them. Like they called it off, and the ground staff didn't run on and suddenly get the covers on the pitch. Yeah. That's crazy. Oh, mate, I don't know. Big money in WBBL, so. There's a quick thing which I really enjoyed. You won't give a shit about, but the Wanderers coach after the Sydney Derby, not quite in the same crowds they were getting a few years ago when they were getting sold out crowds, but they still had 20,000 there. It's when the Sydney Derby's always an awesome spectacle, both sets of fans singing, and he just talked about, so Alan Stajcic is the Wanderers coach, he just talked about how like we should be celebrating this more for football. I actually heard him I was at an event, a season launch at the start of this year, and he was talking about like a football event, soccer. He was just talking about how there's so much infighting in Australian football. And he just spoke passionately about football, and it was like really cool. When I spoke to him afterwards, I said, "Mate, we need guys like you to actually start like coming together and actually doing something." So it was good to hear him say it in public, because Australian football's a bit like the West Tigers, like constant infighting and people with agendas and all this sort of stuff. The similarities are uncanny, actually. But he just went on quite a solid rant in this press conference, just talking about how Australian football needs to do better. And I I liked it, and again, you won't care because you're NRL through and through. But for us football fans, it was good to see some people finally.
No, you're right, mate. Don't give a shit. But I will tell you that I had a work colleague went to the Raw game and they got 8,000, and I thought, well, that just about sums up Australian soccer.
8,000.
It's disappointing for the amount of people that play it, right? I know you're a lover of it. There's a lot of people play it. How they can't seem to pull it together at that top level astounds me. But I'm not real fussed, mate.
No.
I'll leave those comments to you.
Do they still play at Suncorp?
This one was. Yeah, so I think we're all playing most.
8,000 in. 8,
yeah, as far as I know, I won't say it was definitely at Suncorp. I'm not a soccer man, but and they were pretty impressed with 8,000. So
so bad because you wouldn't remember, but 20 years ago when the A League first started, the Roar were getting like full houses at Suncorp. It was unbelievable. Where did it all go wrong? Anyway, moving on from football, mate. I'll let you off that. Now, we talked to R360. They have officially put it to bed for 2 years, and no surprise given that it was really seemed to only be in Australia that we were even talking about it.
Yep.
What do you feel for? Do you feel for these blokes that were kind of pinning their hopes on a big contract?
Yeah, I sort of hope so. I mean, there's a bit of press going around that Papenhuyzen was dealing with a few things and was asking for a release from the Storm anyway. Whether that's factual or not, who knows? Whether it's all talk, but I wouldn't want to be represented by Clinton Tchaikovsky at the moment. He seems to have taken these two fellas and led them down the garden path. How much involvement he's been involved, but it doesn't look good. You want your player manager to be out there helping you out and giving you some advice, and they're both, flowing in the wind. They're talking that Lomax could get up to $150,000 a year playing rugby here in Australia. Yeah. That's ridiculous. He was 650, 700 with Eels with 3 or 4 year contract. This 360, we picked it a couple of weeks ago. It just seemed to be getting more far fetched the longer it went. Apparently, the Rugby World Cup, which I'm sure will be a ball fest, lines up with the new launch date. But give me a spell. Like it just, I can't see it happening, and even if it does, I just don't get it. So I feel for the two of them. Ultimately, they made their decision, but how it'll all pan out, there'll be plenty of newspaper space taken up over the next few weeks about them both. So unfortunately for them, but
newspaper space. There was a report saying maybe Papenhuyzen would be a good fit for Para. I'm like, if that's just not clickbait, I don't know what is. Yeah. Like we've got a young fullback who's killing it, and we're going to replace him for a bloke who's been injured more than he's not for the last few years. Lomax, the whisper I've heard is that Para have moved on, and they didn't like the fact that he wanted out. They have written in there that they get first dibs, but by my mail is he'll be flicked, and wouldn't be surprised if he gets picked up by another NRL team.
Yeah, we've said it a few times now. Riles looks like he's trying to build something for the future, having the right culture, players that want to be there. He did the dirty on the Dragons, in my opinion. Then he'd done the same with Para. So who knows where he'll be. I guarantee he won't be making the money that he was on, let alone what he was expecting to be on. And you're right with Pappy. They'll both get thrown up at every club. Maybe with Pappy you can see a Canterbury or a Cronulla. We both spoke about their fullbacks during our season review. So you can potentially see that, but I don't know.
Both of those teams apparently have been having salary cap pressure with the amount of money. So I don't know.
It's they've both put themselves, or Tchaikovsky, however much he's been involved, they've both put themselves in a pretty tough spot, right? So it'll be interesting to see what comes of it, but at least we can stop talking about Rugby 360.
Exactly. Last bit of league, the young Broncos halfback that they were.
Yeah, Kobe Black.
Apparently he was going to be the hope for the future. He's officially gone.
Yeah, so it's been getting a fair bit of press up here. It looks like it's all going to happen. Could be at the Raiders as early as the end of this week. So I think for him, Broncos made the decision, rightfully or wrongfully, that they were going to go with Jonah Pezzett that went from Storm into you guys at Para. And I think he's a little bit closer by the looks of it, from what we can tell. And Kobe Black going down to the Raiders. That Raiders spine's coming together. They're all young fellas. That Owen Paddy, huge reps on Owen Paddy at hooker there. They put a couple of experienced guys with him as well. So they've just signed Brayley. It's huge depth with experience to teach them. And from Kobe Black, if they're not going to play him up at the Broncos, there aren't too many other coaches in the NRL that's going to give him the guidance that Ricky Stuart will, and away from all the press. Like the press up here for the Broncos is just out of control. So it'll be a spot for him where he won't get a lot of attention, and hopefully for his sake, learn the game from one of the old times. So it's exciting for him. Be good.
All right, let's get to Ashes. We're hoping Cummins will play. Do we think, you mentioned that there's been a fair bit of rain up there and you said the pitch is looking green. So you reckon there's a fair chance I'll go 4 quicks?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. The rain's just about stopped. It could get a little bit, what they're saying, could get a little bit on day 4 on Sunday. The chances of it going 4 days, Cricket Australia will be begging and pleading and praying. But she's pretty green as of last night. I saw photos, and it's pretty green at the moment. With a couple of days of sunshine, it'll just keep growing, right? So they'll be on top of it the best they can, but it won't surprise me at all if they go with 4 quicks. Obviously, Cam Green can handle himself with the ball as well. So, he didn't bowl. He bowled 2 overs or only the 1 over in Perth. So I wouldn't be surprised, mate, if they drop him, and especially if Cummins is fit.
I don't think they should, but an interesting stat the other day saying in the 8 wins that Australia have had in the last couple of years, this is not including the subcontinent, so England, South Africa, West Indies, Australia, I think, maybe. I think it said that of the 4 of the 8 wins, Lyon has bowled less than 10 overs for the match.
Yeah, wow.
Because it's been such pace-dominated games. So I wouldn't be surprised because they seem to just play an overly statistical game. Yeah. But to me, it's like if England somehow bat for a long period. I know that's a bit of a big if considering how they played the last one, but to me, you just got to have the spinner. And Lyon's got such a great record out there at Gabba as well.
Yeah. Well, there's talk. Cricket Australia lost upwards of 4 million, with Perth only going 2 days. So so I'm not saying they're going to do something to the deck because, as I said, it looks awful bloody green for a pink ball at night. So I can't see it going the distance. But that being said, if there is anything trying to flatten it out in any way, it wouldn't go hard. It wouldn't be the wrong move to have Lyon. But again, to your point, mate, they seem to have bit horses for courses with the bowling, and I wouldn't be shocked at all, especially if Cummins is fit. If Cummins is not fit, sort of get it. There's a bit of talk of Nessa coming in to the lineup, but I think that'd be, tough on Doggett, especially if he was the one to be dropped out. I thought he bowled really well, so I reckon they'll go with the quicks. But if Cummins isn't, I'll probably keep Lyon, mate. But they're going to keep you guessing all the way up to the end.
Yeah, absolutely. The other one was Uzi. I reckon let's call it. We talked about this last week. He didn't look good in the field. I know it's only 1 innings, but just head was so good. Put him up to opener. Bring in Inglis myself, and we just move on. Yeah.
Yeah, look, that's the way I'd go about it. But we've said before, we're not picking the team, unfortunately, Hawk, as much as we do a bloody good job. I don't know. I've got a gut feel they're going to keep him. He's done fairly well at the Gabba this year with Queensland. I think he scored an 80 and a 60 in the Shield this year. It's probably it will be his last home test. So I just got that feeling that they're going to go. Give him one more. He's earned it. But look, it's whether it's this test or very, very soon, it's going to happen because he's Father Time's caught up to him, mate.
That's it, mate. The pink ball test, they also leave more grass on it to protect the ball because it doesn't have the same shelf life. So, yeah. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
England. I heard Brad Haddon talk about during the week on. I don't know if you listen to Willow talk at all. Shouldn't be promoting other podcasts, but I do listen to other podcasts occasionally. Willow talk. They were asking him. He said, "Oh no, they're gone. He reckons they're cooked already." And I hope he's right. But I think what they say I don't think Stokes and Root have won a test here between them in 10 years.
Well,
Would that be right? Maybe.
No, I haven't heard that, but it wouldn't surprise. I haven't heard that. A couple of things that stuck out to me in this last week with the Pommies. I think with Wood breaking down,
as we predicted.
As we predicted, I think back to that that first day in Perth. They actually interviewed him on, I think it was Fox of the two, and his knee was really heavily strapped. And I thought to myself, this is day one of an Ashes, 5 Test Ashes, right? And I think they threw all their eggs in one basket with Perth. I think we need to get out. It's a quick, bouncy deck. We've got to get this win early. And they obviously shit the bed, right? So it was an eggs all in one basket, and it's failed. So now they're thinking to themselves, shit, we're one down. We're in trouble here. And then the other thing that I really, really found unusual was Root coming out questioning why there's a day-night test. Now, I probably agree with him. I think there's no need for it against the powerhouses. I think the only need for a night test is when we're struggling with crowd numbers, etc. But for him to be thinking that, negative thought process going into the game, he's supposed to be their gun. He's supposed to be their leader. Still hasn't scored 100 in Australia, and here he is talking about not wanting a night test. So, mate, they go 2 down. That's it. Murder she wrote. It's all over.
Well, leave it now. They got to win 3.
Yeah,
they got to win 3 to get the Ashes. Crazy. Well, I didn't hear that, but that is unbelievable. Unless they're just trying to take the pressure off them and put it onto the circumstances. But that just means, to me, that just looks like they're trying to externalise the excuses to someone else already.
Yeah, I was really surprised when he said, he was just, questioning it. Do I think we really need a night test when it's this big a deal, the Ashes? And he's right, But for him to be thinking that in the process, you do a lot of work in the mental preparation space. I was just blown away by it. So if he's thinking that, a couple of the younger fellas in the squad will certainly be thinking it. And, Stark gets it going early again. He's just built for night test with the pink ball. Could be a tough few days for the Poms.
Absolutely. I enjoy listening to the English commentators. There's a couple of podcasts, Nasser Hussain and Mike Atherton, who, like they've both said, we didn't have a great deal of success here either, but they went reasonably well. But they're not negative about England, but they just call it as it is, and they're hopeful, but they did not sound confident at all. It's almost like they're a bit fearful of where it's going to end.
Yeah, I think it's Groundhog Day for them, right? They've seen this play out over the years before. I don't know. It doesn't seem like there's a happy relationship with the ex-players and the current crop. Whether they
come across as arrogant, really.
Yeah, they don't seem to get along at all. So
it's interesting. Another interesting stat: they've only won 2 series out here in the last 7 years or something. What the fuck? And that was one of those. One of those was when World Series started. So we were missing all our best players.
Yeah.
And the other one was 2000 and was it 20?
Yeah,
11, 12, or 10, 11 or whatever it was.
2 tours ago.
Yeah, when all our old blokes had just retired and we had a bit of an experienced team. That's staggering.
Yeah, no, they're uphill now. Obviously, Wood, as we predicted, I'll still walk backwards to Melbourne if their other pace bowlers get through. Joffrey Archer, there's no way to get through 3-4 more tests, right? So it's especially we get away and put up a good score in this first innings, whether we bat first or second, we put up a good score in this first innings, they're going to think that it's all over.
All right. we'll leave it there. I just wanted to add one more thing. Like, for those that have listened to the Ian Chappell interview, absolute cracker. But the reels, the little highlights that I put out, have done crazy numbers. And it just staggers me how many people just want to have a crack. Like, there's still people jumping on there with their negativity, and I shared some of the comments with you. They didn't miss. Oh, mate, I don't
glorious, absolutely glorious. You got to give it to Chappell's got an opinion on everything, rightfully or wrongfully. I actually like that about him, but some of the comments, that was quite personal.
In fact, so much so I just couldn't even reply. I couldn't even say thanks for your comment. I was just like, I'm just going to let that one go because.
Yeah. No, he certainly stirred some emotion. Old Chappell, didn't he?
Very good. And like I said to you, you sent me that article where someone had quoted this podcast in their article. And I said to you, does it mean I've made it? Have I made it now? Someone's quoting me?
You certainly have, mate. You're dropping other podcasts. They're dropping your name now, mate.
Oh, I love it. Thank you, mate. I appreciate you sharing that. We'll have to get that one, do the rounds on socials as well. Yeah. Another good week, mate. This time next week, ideal scenario is the test is still going.
Yeah, like that'd be nice.
The early evening of day 5. I don't like our chances, but fingers crossed we can actually sit here and watch a bit of live play while we unpack what's unfolded.
Yeah, that'd be glorious, mate. 2-0 either way is what I'm hoping for. But yeah, there's more cricket I can watch at this level, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be a good weekend on the couch, this one.
It will be.
I'll see you then, Steve.
Cheers, buddy.
You've taken the time to listen to this whole episode. Now it's time to take action. Commit to one thing you've learned today and make it happen. And to avoid any obstructions, join the Sport is Life movement by clicking on the link in the show notes.